Hello. Welcome back to Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. It's quiet, isn't it? Happy Hump Day, by the way. Halfway through the week, hopefully we're all surviving to the best of our abilities. In the last one, we started a new game, and I've been having so much fun with it, and I am so excited to get back to it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hop right into it, I guess, because I don't know how long it's going to be. If you can hear a buzzing noise, hopefully it's not too aggressive. I don't hear a buzzing noise. I don't think. Bit of static? Did that change anything? Uh-oh, sound issues again. Like bad sound issues? Oh, that's not good. Huh. An aggressive buzz. Yeah, I don't hear a buzz, and I also don't hear my game audio. So this is lovely, fantastic news. Great. Huh. That's gonna be a problem. Why can I not hear my game audio? Barack, thank you so much for the subscription. I'm so sorry that you can't hear anything at the moment. Give me a hot second here, boys. Let me go into my audio properties, see if I can figure out what is going on here. Let's, see, so that's interesting. You can't even hear that either. Game audio is fine. Well, it's definitely not fine because I can't hear the game audio. That's gonna be a problem for me. I definitely need to be able to hear what I am playing. So what is up? Oh! Okay, I just fixed something on my end. So now I can hear. That's good. Now about this buzzing issue. You guys hear a prominent buzzing? Alright, right now I hear an aggressive buzzing. And now I think I took care of the buzzing. Hopefully. Also, it's a little hot in here. So you know what? Chat, I might have to cut out this beginning part. I need to turn up the AC. I'm gonna be right back. You guys in the chat, let me know how bad the situation is. Oh man, I'm such a bad streamer. This is why I have to have a small YouTube account, actually. There's no chance I can get anything done. Is anyone still here? Are you still... Are you still interested? Okay. Mystic Maya was behind it. Adam Ferguson! Hello, Tito TJ! Alright, now I really do gotta get started, because I've wasted a lot of time. It sounds like you guys are saying the sound is better now, so hopefully that means we are okay to play the game. It is April 20, 420 Blaze It, 12:14 p.m., District Court, Courtroom number 2. I know for a fact that the game developers were like, you know what we gotta do for Apollo Justice? We gotta start the game on 420. That wasn't an accident. You don't accidentally pick April 20th. This was intentional. So those of you that like to indulge in Mary Jane Wanna, have a blast. I'm drinking water. Anyways, let's get started here. Hello, everybody of the courts. I'm back. I'm no longer intoxicated, and I'm ready to do some good work. I think it was a successful break. Now that there is music, you guys can also tell me and make sure that my audio sounds good in comparison to the music. I'm gonna clear my throat, prepare for court. And, Let's do something successful today, boys. I have a client, his name is Phoenix Wright, I need to get him found not guilty of murder. That's pretty much the only objective we've got here today. Court will now reconvene as our witness, Miss Olga Orley, recovered.
Yes, Your Honor. She's regained consciousness.
Moist Veronica! Hello! First time turning into one of these things live. Veronica. Why you gotta be so moist? Brief recap? Yes, let's go through the brief recap. Now that I have the court record, we can do it like this, actually. This is Christoph Gavin. He's my boss, and he's highly sus. We have a suspicion that he is actually a fourth person that was at the scene of the crime, so we should talk about the crime, actually. This is Shady Smith. He's dead. He is deceased. He was murdered. He was playing poker with Daddy Nick, who is actually a real-life dad now, allegedly. And also used to be a lawyer, but now is doing his rap career / pianist playing. It's been an interesting life. I'm very curious to learn more about it. He's the defendant. People think that he killed Shady Smith because he lost in a game of poker, but we kind of show that he actually won in the game of poker, and also it's my boy Nick. Nick is not a murderer, alright? He's many things. A killer isn't one of them. Nick personally called out to, I guess, his friend Christoph Gavin from the place where lawyers go, the clinic, not the clinic, the clergy, the defense department. And he asked specifically for Apollo Justice to defend him instead of Christoph, and it's coming together as to why that is, because we think that Christoph is a big bad guy who is going to set Phoenix up, and Phoenix is always one step ahead of the game. He's a smart cookie, that guy. Also, there's this girl, Olga Orley. She's another witness. She helped orchestrate the cheat in the game that was then ultimately covered up by Christoph Gavin, but not in a very well way because he didn't even look at the backs of the cards and he put the wrong color card inside of the deck, and that's probably what's going to come into play today. Also, there's this guy, Winston Payne. He's kind of irrelevant. We don't really know much about him. Did I do a good job? Perhaps we can hear her versions of the events again.
Well, that's the thing, you see. She's, quite fatigued.
You're looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. The defense would like to request that Miss Orley take the stand. Very well. The witness will take the stand. Remind me again why we're suspecting Christoph. So Christoph, in the very beginning of the trial, he was very adamant that the playing cards were blue, but they weren't. The playing cards were simply red, except for one single card that was blue, which was swapped into the deck, which we now assume must have been Christoph since he was so big about the cards being blue. Between heaven and hell, hello. Perhaps you could repeat your name and profession. Or perhaps you'd rather admit you're a poor liar and a poorer loser. Wow, Christoph's coming for blood today.
Yet, no, The name's Olga O'Reilly.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Is that you? I totally missed that pun yesterday. It was kindly pointed out to me that, like, Apollo was even saying, oh, really, O'Reilly? Phoenix Wright games, they always hit you with the puns. That one whoosh, flew over my head.
Ha, that's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quick Fingers Orley.
Wow. Oh, ew. Okay, sweetie. Why don't you keep your fingers to yourself, girl? All right, this is a court of law, all right? This isn't the disgusting hotel on 32nd Street in New York City. Oh, really?
Want to know something else?
Wow, can we also express what the fuck? How is this happening right now? So is she just like a slut? Pardon me, I don't mean to be rude. I'm a little confused. What is it that you do actually?
Want to know something else?
Yeah, so much actually.
I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like oh really.
Ah, there it is.
There, that's the truth. Hope you're satisfied.
A queen did you see her boots? Ah! Sorry, my inner homosexual is coming out.
A witness, you're gonna tell the court what you were really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see?
Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Thunder Phoenix. Oh no, she's hot! Any further fabrications will have serious consequences. Alright, let's see what she's got.
Ha! Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the game. As a waitress.
So you were in cahoots with the victim?
Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles. But winning wasn't the main purpose of the game. It was about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple. Elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would be snap shut. His reputation, deceased. Phoenix Wright, no longer the champion poker player. He better practice fingering those keys because he's not gonna be like a quick finger Olga. He's just gonna be a pianist.
You swapped the cards! Who was that?
Anyways, exposed as a cheater and to losing on top of it, it would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces.
Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on all of his prior wins.
A 7-year legend destroyed by a single little card. That was the plan.
But like, why?
Oh really, oh really? How droll.
But it appears you made quite the mistake. A mistake?
I agree the trap was elegant. Yet, what happened to that planted card?
Hey, that's right!
He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be a slip-free, you'd have to... I can talk. You'd have to be lucky to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quick Fingers Orly. Oh, really?
Oh, really? The witness would be much cuter if she dispensed the evil mastermind shtick.
Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. Do you hear me? I'm a bad girl. I'm a bad, naughty girl, you see, and I should not be trusted.
What is happening in court today, ma'am? This is why I need to show up drunk to these things. It's a little bit much for me to deal with, if I'm going to be totally honest. When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court. Yeah, the judge, he's not into the bad girls. Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. I'll spring your sprung. The best laid traps.
That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it.
Oh, she's doing the thing. I forgot. I gotta look for those. She touched the back of her neck. Phoenix told me about this in the last game. That's a very important point that I need to remember. Anthony Porter, hello. Aw, thank you for missing me.
It wasn't me who hit Smith. It was that no-good cheating defendant.
Alright, I'm on to you, bitch. I know your tell. A surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark.
The trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect. If that rotten cheater hadn't messed it up...
Hey, look who's talking. Well, the testimony for what it's worth is all yours, Mr. Justice. With witnesses like her, who needs criminals? And with defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors? Alright. We know what to do, boys. We're gonna make her eat it. Alright, she planted the card like she was supposed to. Yeah, that's all fine and good. Wright lost the hands, and then Smith searched him. The planted card was gone, the trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. Oh, really? Wait. Isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright, thoroughly, I might add, and found nothing? Which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well... I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, what was that? I sensed something. Something wrong, Mr. Justice. No, nothing, Your Honor. You see, I might have done one too many shots before coming here today. It's fine. I'm feeling a little lightheaded. Should I press her a little harder? Oh, for sure. Press her as hard as we can. Miss O'Reilly, you're hiding something. What are you talking about? You? Me? Quick fingers? Only hide something. Oh my god.
The defense will refrain from baseless accusations.
Well, then I have one question for the witness. Is this the Magatama? Honestly. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true?
Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Wright hit him. With my own eyes, I saw it.
Yo, what's this weird vibe I'm getting? Honestly, I just get kind of a... Oh my god. Guys, story time. I'll keep it quick because I know that you're here to watch a video game, but this is a story. It's going to be going up on TikTok, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. For 4th of July, I was at this lake house, right? There was this woman here who, in my TikTok story, we're calling her Janice. That's not her real name because I like to protect people's identities. I did not know her. She was somebody else's friend. She was pretty drunk when I got there at like 4 o'clock already. And when we got to dinner time, this woman, who I'm meeting for the very first time, she comes up to me to my face in front of all of my friends and goes, honestly, I just really don't like you at all. I just get like a bad, weird vibe from you. So could you like not even talk to me? And when I tell you I was so stupefied to have this stranger like publicly put me on blast in front of all of the people at this event who I was friends with. And then as the night was going on, she was literally going around to the other people at this party who were my existing friends. These are people who I've known for years. She was going up to them and being like, honestly, I just get this weird vibe from him. I don't think you should talk to him, and I don't think you should trust him. Like, who the fuck are you to say that to my friends? So at dinner time, I'm trying to placate myself and be like, okay, maybe I like said something that came across bitchy. Maybe I offended her in some way without realizing it. And like I hurt her feelings or somehow. So I'm in the kitchen and she's in the kitchen, and so we're alone. And I figure, all right, this is a great private moment to pull her aside really quick and like, you know, try to clear the air. I was like, hey, I just wanted to reach out. Like, I'm so sorry if like I did or said anything that like hurt your feelings or made you feel uncomfortable in any way at this party. She literally cut me off before I could finish, pushed me away, and was like, honestly, I just like don't like you. I really just don't want you to even talk to me. So like, please just like leave me alone. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, this is a lost cause. Like, Jesus fuck, who the hell is this woman? And so like, oh, at that point, my blood almost boiled a little bit. Because listen, I fully understand that not everybody's going to like you in this world. I'm a public figure. I know that lesson perfectly. There are people who hate me just because of who I am. You know, I don't do things that necessarily offend people, but some people don't like my voice. They think that I'm not funny. They get literally mad that, like, if I post a thirst trap and it gets likes on the internet, they're like, fuck you! So I get that sometimes people don't like me. And no matter who you are, not everybody in this world is gonna like you. But for her to, like, be so bold in person and, like, humiliate me in front of my friends, I was like, dude, you're a fucking asshole. And the thing is, she was drunk. And being drunk lowers people's inhibitions, right? However, being drunk is never an excuse to be an asshole in my book. I'm like, you can be loud, you can be obnoxious, you can sometimes be a little bit embarrassing when you're drunk, and all of those things are forgivable. But if you're going around being an absolute dick to people, you know, being drunk, you're still you. You're just a less inhibited version of you. So it's like you're still an asshole. So I don't know. I just found the whole thing so fucking uncomfortable. And so Listen, she's not my friend, so I'm not gonna see her again. If I had a friend that was that drunk and treating one of my other friends that badly, I'd like to think that the morning after or the next day, I'd pull my friend and have a serious conversation with them about like, hey, you were fucking terrible to that person last night, and that was embarrassing, and you should probably like apologize and try to fix that situation. But that's neither here nor there. That's the other person's business. I was stupefied. So I'm going to be making a TikTok about it. And, well, I made a TikTok about it, but I don't know when I'm going to be uploading it. Anyways, if you see it on TikTok, please watch it all the way through and like it so that it gets boosted in the algorithm. Oh my god. Anyways, that was my little story rant. I'm sorry. The weird vibe, it's just like, it shook me to my core, because that allegedly was her reason. She didn't give me a specific thing that I ever did to her. She told me and she told my friends that, like, she just didn't like my vibe, and so therefore she wanted to, like, shout at me in public and tell me that she didn't like me in front of all of my friends. Moving on, I'm here to help a client. That witness, for instance, Miss O'Reilly, she would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Touching her neck, was it? Whoa! Wow, we're getting up close and personal. What the fuck? Dude. Is Apollo as high as a kite in the sky right now? Are we on LSD or shrooms? Should we be testifying? Not testifying, cross-examining? It's a bit wild to me. What's going on? This sensation, it's coming into focus. There, that twitch. It's like I could perceive her habit in a way that I couldn't before. Is this the new Magatama? Okay, I understand. Perceive. Gotcha! Alright, well, now we're gonna be putting her on the spot. Miss O'Reilly, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. Unaware of what? Whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? And so what? What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of the testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory, and she touches her neck. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about? This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us. About that. Well, you see, here's the thing. Maybe? Let's see where this goes. Well, her habit is scratching her neck, even when she talks about the moment of the crime. So what would remind her the most of the moment of the crime? Miss O'Reilly, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. There's gotta be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe the weapon that left an inerasable impression on your neck is this. The bottle. We truly don't have anything else that's a weapon, so... Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck. And what reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon? But something doesn't fit. If you were only the witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain? We're really going down the rabbit hole of extrapolating information all based off of presumptions, which I don't think holds up in a court of law, but it makes for entertaining reality TV. Apollo would be a great psychic. What's he talking about now? It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. Yeah, what you gotta object to?
This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits, they're completely irrelevant.
Justice, I'll admit I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later. Just trust me. Now's our only chance to break her. Wow, Apollo's got like a really violent rhetoric. Miss O'Reilly, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime. The very moment.
Yet, I know nothing.
Ma'am, that's not how a disguise works. Once you've given it up, you don't get to go back. We know you're not Russian. The witness will testify. Please. Now.
Fine.
It's Lady Angela Redrain. Hello, George. I've been watching your stream since you played the first Trilogy of Phoenix, right? Whenever I get the chance, I watch you. I don't talk, but I lurk a lot, and it's always fun with you. Oh, well, thank you for reaching out with the message. Yeah, those of you who are lurkers, I know sometimes it's awkward to, like, pop into the chat if you're someone who doesn't like to be a participant in the chat. But, yeah, make yourselves known every once in a while. Just say, like, hey, and I think it's so cool because I like knowing that you guys are sticking around. Oh! Holy shit, it gets better! This is round 2 cross-examination music. We're turning up the heat, adding a little spice. Okay.
He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there.
Press it, I guess. You seem uneasy.
You try sitting up here.
Her eyes are darting all over the place. I gotta be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like?
Well, he must have been stunned by the weight of his crime. He sat in a daze at the table until the cops came.
Intriguing. I believe you've gotten all the testimony you're going to get out of this witness. So, what do you think about her testimony? I'll tell you what I think. Her testimony is flawed. Because if it's fine, it's game over. It's basically bogus. It contradicts the evidence.
What's that?
Well, show us this evidence, Mr. Justice. This evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony. She didn't let him out of her sight until the cops got there. I know there's some evidence that contradicts that. I know too, but what is it? Let's look at his phone. The phone might actually be it, because he used it to call the police from the restaurant's first floor. So unless she's claiming that she also went up to the first floor with Phoenix to call the police, which seems weird, I think. I think that's the most direct tie-in, so I'm gonna throw it out there and hope it works. Miss O'Reilly, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. Yeah, okay. I got this. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. Whoa! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, she's taking selfies. Girl, not from that angle. Oh my god, listen. High angles. High angles are flattering. They make your face look slimmer. You get to look up. It's cute. Low angles, you're gonna have 7 chins, madame.
The man who picked up a bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant.
Let's focus. Showdown time. You dirty cheat! Check his pockets, now!
It's gone. The card's gone.
You lose.
Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to Mr. Wright, and he hit me. Oh my god.
You, some master of cheating you are, you dumb broad!
Oh no! Oh my god, the hostility towards women!
When I came to, the victim was already dead.
Is that it?
That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Mr. Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure.
Well, where does this leave us?
Madness! This is madness! I'm dreaming. It must have been me who was hit with a bottle, and I'm imagining all of this.
It appears our prosecution is at his wit's end, and frankly, I can't even blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events?
Mr. Gavin? Sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss O'Reilly a big, fat liar. Can't call women fat, Mr. Gavin. That's not kosher these days.
I beg your pardon?
There were in that room the night of the murder the defendant, the victim, and her. And she has a motive. Does she? A motive? Her plot foiled, the witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouncement of that argument was murder.
What? Listen, I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me.
Daddy Nick. My, what tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. Oh my god. It's like he's reading poetry to me. So tangled, we catch ourselves in the process.
Mr. Wright!
Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Well, why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, that's what Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hands after the murder, and the one who swapped the card didn't know two colors of cards were being used. A fourth person.
Ah, this theory again? Your fourth person doesn't exist, Mr. Wright.
Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape, and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal.
The real criminal?
And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. Right at the beginning of the trial, no less.
What?
Apollo. Perhaps you know what I'm talking about. Sorry. No. Remember what I said. The fourth person who swapped the cards has made one critical error. Right, he or she wasn't considering the color on the backs of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The cards used for the last game were red. Yet there's one person here, in our court, who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was?
It's not me, I swear.
Who is this fourth person?
Why do I always get put on the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Thank God this is the tutorial case and this is actually an easy answer. Alright. It was the victim, Shady Smith. He did it all along. Alright, I'm sorry, boss. This is gonna be real fucking awkward. Going against my superior. As I expected. Your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. I was right? Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. Well, but of course Mr. Gavin knows the color of the cards. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue. The ones on the floor, the ones on the table. But look!
You can see the colors in this photo. Yeah, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came to light. It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet it was only that, a game in the purest sense, a competition you're on.
A competition?
Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flames, know its final outcome. Well, Kristoff? Mr. Gavin?
Mr. Gavin! Something the matter?
No. Nothing. Excuse me. It was just so... sudden. Right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Kristoff? You know even I'd never take a joke this far. Alright, Phoenix, I love you to death. We gotta do something about the sandals. I need to get you back in shoes, alright? It's critical. Men in sandals ain't it for me, especially sandals with, like, sweats and jeans.
This has gone beyond ridiculous. Beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder?
I assure you, I'm quite sane.
But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim?
I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either.
Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim never even met.
Well, what if they had?
Huh?
There is a possibility, after all. Maybe they met that night, before the game started.
What are you suggesting?
Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? I guess there's only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify to the code.
Wait, boss!
The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin! Listen, my guy, with all due respect. I'm the defense attorney here. He asked for me to represent him. I hope that's where this is going. I hope Apollo has that moment. Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related? Oh. Fuck.
I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin.
As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss O'Reilly...
Am I to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this?
He is the defense, are you? Yes! Thank you, Judge. Judge King, my guy. For the first time, he's got my back. You know why? Because I'm not Phoenix Wright anymore. I'm a brand new, young and chipper strapping lad, and I've got a fresh slate with this judge. He's got my back, me and the judge. That's right, Judge, I'm the defense. Yeah, what you gotta say to that, Gavin?
Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you.
Oh, okay.
Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony?
For sure, 100%, yes. This was Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along, and I intend to see it through. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. To Justice, you would betray me, your teacher. I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin, it's not about loyalty. It's about the truth. It's always about the truth, Apollo, you're learning.
Very well, the defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand, please.
Alright, appetite before murder. Let's hear it. Oh, yes. That evening, Kristoff and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Kristoff left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable, so I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call. To defense attorney Gavin. Interesting. So in the tangled web of lies, he claims to have called the police now before the murder happened. That's interesting.
Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club the night of the murder.
I dine with him rather frequently.
And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder?
Quite against my will, I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you? Right. Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. Look, the only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now... Oh, the tea! What is the history between these two boys? Does it go back 7 years, perhaps? Oh, I'm invested. What does that mean, Phoenix? As I did back then? Okay, you are seen. You are heard. I'm gonna get you your justice, sweetie. You stay tight. Gonna make it okay for you. I'm listening. I'm learning. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears I was wrong. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice. Yes, sir? He's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Listen, I dream daily about exposing Phoenix. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This probably isn't going to end well for me. Why can't I have a normal trial? I don't know. Alright. I feel like we're not going to be able to find a tell with Nick. We could try really quick. Let's just go through it, see if he has a different thing on any of these. Oh, right here he's a little bit different. But then he's also different here. I don't know if that counts as a tell. We might just have to press yeah, these are just different facial expressions. Since Phoenix is like our master, who's like very much aware of the tells, he probably knows how to suppress his. Alright. We set up the table in this photograph. Let's press everything. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yeah. He dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner at our usual spot. As usual. Usual? I always eat at the table closest to the piano. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting.
So the plates and such on the table were from your dinner?
Indeed. The remnants of my meal with Kristoff. We dined for about 2 hours, then Kristoff left. After that... Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after he left, okay? 5 minutes. So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time. That would have to be a faithful encounter, to be sure.
Mr. Wright, what was it you said? Kristoff Gavin and Shady Smith may have met.
That's right, I believe I said that.
Here I was, all nervous about this meeting, and now we hear that they might have just passed in a hallway.
That does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder. Oh, it would be, if that was all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright, throw me a bone here. And the trap failed, Smith at the waitress. Okay, let's press that. About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga O'Reilly mentioned.
The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When the hands were showed,
We read this today. It's fine. Yep, still the same. Okay. This is actually a common trope in Ace Attorney games. I don't know why. They love their flashbacks. Sometimes they make sense, like when it's from a previous case or from a part of the game we played on a different day. But sometimes it's a flashback to something that happened literally 5 minutes ago, and they're like, we're going to give you the full flashback. I don't know why they do it. They do. It's cute. It's charming. It's camp. We're here for it. Yeah, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it.
A quirk?
Yeah, I happened to put my hand in my pocket, and I found a card. The card she planted! Yeah, I snuck a peek at it and found that it was a 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game.
Disposed where?
There was an empty bottle of grape juice. I'd been drinking right beside me. Threw the card inside of the bottle.
An empty bottle of grape juice.
The murder weapon?! Was there a card in there the whole time? Yep, I rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see.
A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. Sounds like a terrific drama.
A card inside the murder weapon? Well, that's strange. Did the police really miss that in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. Are you kidding me? Did they really?
Mr. Wright, the poker head of courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with this new information.
Dispose of the card in the bottle. This might be where we present something, actually, because let me look at this bottle. How do I rotate again? Alright. Zoom in on her. I mean, I don't see anything. For sure. No. Right? I mean, is the bottle... Am I to believe that the bottle is supposed to be translucent or solid? It's a little hard to tell right now. Mr. Wright's prints are on it. Grape juice bottle. Yeah! Okay, what's going on with this bottle, Phoenix? Mr. Wright, if I may... Yes? I've examined the bottle and... I don't see any card in here. No?
Mr. Wright, surely... isn't you all you have to say for yourself?
I can't say that I know what happened to the card. But I did put it in the bottle. Huh? Perhaps a 5th person came and took it out. Oh, and a 6th person could have helped. We're just getting sassy.
Mr. Gavin! Mr. Wright is your client!
My apologies, Your Honor.
I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside the bottle. There was nothing.
So, what's going on here? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Wow, what a word. Get them hoodwinked. Or did the card just disappear?
In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence.
Oh. Push him harder, Justice. Break him. It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? Alright. So we had dinner, we sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Kristoff left. We've been through that. Discovered the trap during the game and disposed of the card in the bottle. And that didn't really go anywhere. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. Let's press this. Let's try and get some new information. So you made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at the time? Not a soul. It was in the middle of the night after all. So there in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. Didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. And when you returned, the victim was already... dead? Yes. I'll admit I was a little startled when I walked in.
A little?
He was bleeding from his forehead, after all. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that. There's a contradiction there, I think. Let me go back to it. That's when he called... blood streaming from a cut on his forehead, right? But, like, we had this whole point about, let me open the crime photo. His hat was on his head. So, like... I believe that this is a contradiction. Whether or not I'm correct, we shall see. But he's claiming that he walked in and saw the blood streaming from his head, which he shouldn't be able to if the hat was still on his body.
So did you put the hat on his body afterwards and manipulate the crime scene? Or what's going on here? I don't know. Throw it at him, see what happens. Objection! Fuck yeah. I came for blood today, Phoenix. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes. Take a look at this graph of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point. Oh my god, he's so calm and cool and collected. Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put the hat on his head. Yeah, that's an important detail, buddy. Huh? You? You put the hat on the dead man's head? He wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view, shining bright, just like in this photograph. And I picked his hat up off the floor and I put it on his head. Why do you do a thing like that? All I can say is, I'm sorry. That's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Miss O'Reilly didn't see it. It being the victim's, his head. I'd think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Here we go again. Mr. Gavin? Ahem. Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, look, he's still our client though, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Wait, Mr. Gavin? This witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Go on. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone, no? Boys! Gentlemen! I'm a rookie attorney trying to do my job, alright? I don't need your petty drama to get away in this. I'm looking at my career over here. Poor fucking Apollo. He's just trying to get through his first fucking case. And his boss is having an argument with his client. Oh, the drama of it all. Alright, can we put the Real Housewives of Japanifornia act to the side for a second? Get through this trial, and then you two boys can have your hot, steaming makeup sex? Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's really gotta be now. Don't be misled. I actually haven't told a single lie here, and I believe that to be 100% true. Phoenix, this is my boy Phoenix. We know that Phoenix had to deal with plenty of liars on the witness stand, and he's being very, very careful and calculated. He's being so calculated to be vague. He's not telling lies, but he's withholding information, and there is a difference between those two things. You know, like, when you cheat on your wife, and you don't lie and say that you didn't cheat on her, you just hope that it never comes up in conversation. Alright, so maybe being vague and withholding information is not always a good thing. But in the court of law, he's strategizing. I admire it. I respect it, you know? But, like, also, we gotta wrap this shit up, Phoenix. Huh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card into the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well, too. Right, he's very calculated. The reason would have to be related to Kristoff Gavin, probably. Do we think that Kristoff Gavin killed the man? If he killed the man, why put on the hat? Ah, something's weird here. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone. That night, recall that I spoke with the defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Phoenix!
Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Oh, you mean someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? Bonnet china. How do I say this? You mean someone cracked that flawless chiseled jawline? It wasn't you, was it? Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands, should it come to that. Bone china plate? It's a kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny, but... not plate, but pate. Him being bald! Bald! That's, oh my god, and that's what the hat is for! He put the hat, wait.
Shady Smith was playing the game with hats. If he passed Kristoff Gavin and they met for the first time, and he was wearing a hat, and the hat covers up the bald spot, you wouldn't know that this man is bald. He knew that this man was bald. How did he know that this man was bald? By taking the, by killing him. And then by putting the hat back on the victim's body, nobody should know that he was bald. Maybe, I think I'm putting together logic. It might not all be coming together, but hang on a second. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Wait a second, something's not right about the phone call. Thank you, Apollo. That's kind of where I'm at. So, after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club. Most certainly. Then, how did he know? When did he see this bone china pate? When did he see that he was bald? That's right. Yeah. See, that's when I began to see my good friend in a slightly different light. That's when it clicked. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. Pate is a synonym for head. It dates back to the 19th century. Guys, this is an educational channel. We're learning. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you'd like to explain this to the court. Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the hat on the victim's head. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it, Phoenix Wright? Hey. Phoenix of Grandeur, hello, welcome to the chat. Order! I will have order, Mr. Payne! Yes, Your Honor! I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear Defense Attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as the prosecutor, you see, I must, okay. Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes, after which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal, Your Honor. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. Another recess in the tutorial? What? Alright, 420 Blaze at 2:32 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Jeez, who'd have thought today would turn out like this? May I? Are you...
Are you Phoenix's daughter? You look like the girl in the locket. So I have so many questions that I have to ask you, but I also have to look at your face and see whose bone structure you are most closely aligned with. This is very important to me.
Ma'am, what are you doing here?
Hello, sir. Please, pick a card.
Wait, what? Is this one okay?
Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it.
A trump card?
The card you've chosen is magical. Use it wisely and the game is yours. That's all.
An ace? With blood on it. Where do I remember that card from? That's the card from the cheat. Why the fuck does this girl have it? Oh, jeez. I'm getting confused. Phoenix's daughter? Do we have a profile for her? We don't. Yeah, Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces. Mr. Wright's had 2. The 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. Right. The missing 5th ace. Oh, wait. Splotch of red. Is this blood?
Well, you have your trump card. It's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it.
Oh my god, she's like adorable. What, is she like a fucking magician or something? Girl, are you a spirit medium? Do you have a magazine? Wait! This bloodstained card. It's my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl. I had seen her recently, but where? In the locket, Apollo. I almost said Phoenix. That's when I made the connection. Right. She was pink back then. Maybe she has the same outfit in like 7 different colors for the 7 different days of the week. Bloody ace added to the court record. Oh, we're back in court. Okay. Court will now reconvene. Defense attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Wow, he's still proper as ever. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Will the witness state his name and occupation?
Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Hey, that's my word. Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. We've had a parrot in here testify before. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secrets beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it. Oh! He's my Mia! Oh my god. Oh, no shit, it's his tune! I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright? What do you think you're doing, Wright? Things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, why don't we consider something for a second? The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off, except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit. Oh? When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you'd have to be at the scene of the crime, at the time of the crime. In other words, you'd have to be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say? Not bad, Apollo. Oh my god, I love this. Phoenix and Apollo, we're gonna be a team. He's gonna be my mentor. I'm gonna call him Daddy. Mr. Gavin. Also, I'm low-key gonna really need Phoenix as a mentor, because my actual mentor, I think, is about to get convicted of murder and go to jail, which is gonna leave me out of a job. I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? There's so much happening right now. Oh, I assure you, I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, no, this is gonna take a turn for the worse. Yet I'm afraid in the current situation I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Finally! You may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? Oh, jeez. He's gonna throw us under the bus so hard. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window to the hideout.
It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That's when the call came from Wright.
So you witnessed the murder?
For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed.
Mr. Gavin! I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming. Well, what else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. Oh, jeez. And you had to testify, just as you did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo?
Oh!
Man, he's not even sweating bullets anymore.
Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared?
Yeah, totally, Your Honor. I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm fine. I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. That fateful night. Alright. So I wonder if we have to press everything. Do you think he has a tell? Let's look through his statements really quick. I don't know, he looks pretty stiff. I don't notice a tell of any kind. Alright, I guess we're gonna have to press everything. That's fine, we'll take our time, we're gonna be thorough. So that man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers, his aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that.
So then, you knew the true nature of your client's job.
Of course, but I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense that he'd know, but they were friends after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score.
I see. What happened to that?
I went down to the basement and peeked through the little hideout and the window in the little hideout, okay. The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch upstairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The black marketers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? That look of like, you fucking dumbass. I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes, what if my fears had been unfounded? I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least. Huh. Man, so far everything he's saying makes sense. Must have been right after the murder took place. How do you know it was right after the murder? Really, no need to shout, Justice. Alright, sorry, bad habit. I was just getting to that part in my testimony. There he is, the coolest defense in the West we know and love. Even when you're standing up on there on the witness stand, some things just never change. I was afraid you'd changed too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. Jeez, with friends like these, who needs enemies? The victim was dead as he appears in the photo. By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. And then Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat.
Can you describe the scene of the crime for us?
Bald head, unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. Okay, that's a lot. Those were the only three at the scene of the crime? Yes, as far as I saw, at least.
Then we're back where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police?
2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend right. Even after seeing what I had, I couldn't abandon my friend.
Wow, talk about gaslighting to the extreme.
There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime.
Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul.
But that goes against what Mr. Wright said.
Yes, this mysterious 4th person, who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin.
Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hand?
The bloodstain, maybe? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary?
How can I show something I can't find myself?
Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace.
Right. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason?
I'm gonna do a quick save of confidence, and then I'm gonna try, Your Honor. Show evidence. It's now or never.
The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out.
Do you think I may be too early to do this? I might be. I mean, there's blood on the ace, so that seems to play... Seems like that would play into the factor somehow, but I don't fully understand how. It's all a little bit confusing to me. Because it says, why did the killer take the 5th ace? Blood being on it, I'm sure the blood being on the card is the reason, but I don't understand why it's the reason. So we're winging it.
Well, my reason is, this.
Is that an ace?
What? It's got blood on it! Right next to the spade.
What? Oh, we got him, boys.
This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this?
Could this be the missing 5th ace?
Yes, it is, Your Honor. Oh, I'm doing so good by winging it.
Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card?
Well, that's the thing. God, why is he so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Whoa, Apollo, we do not call women fishy. My God, Apollo, never get a Twitter account. You wouldn't be able to handle it. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Bull Club that night, after the murder occurred. What, Phoenix? Nick! Let me in on some of these details, please. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock in trade, after all. Oh, right, that does make total sense, because his daughter did, in fact, give it to us. I should have put 2 and 2 together. That... Sorry, I'm a rookie. I'm still learning.
Objection!
Yeah, please.
Impossible. Unacceptable. The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud.
A fraud? How can you be so sure?
What?
I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Holy fuck, Phoenix! This is like some kind of like entrapment scheme, which I think is insane, but also I'm low-key here for it. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason?
The reason for?
For the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime.
Where are you going with this?
Take another look at the photo, and at the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his head down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of these cards? Yeah, I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Regardless, the evidence is non-permissible.
Oh?
Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence.
We could discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's honestly important right now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about? Well, you wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the scene of the crime. And now I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see? This is baseless conjecture, baseless. Ah! I love hearing his objection. Ah, he's doing the point! Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. What? It's amazing, really, how a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Wait, me? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Whoa, hot 3D. Let's turn that on for a second. Wow. Oh. Look at this little diorama we've got going on here. I'm a fan of it. Okay. The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped a card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there's one decisive problem with this scene. Well, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, or the second witnesses? Alright, I think I understand where this is going, but I could be wrong. So, the person who doesn't make sense to me would be the victim. My logic being because the blood trailed behind his head. So if the victim's facing the table and his cards are on the table and he's clonked out like this and blood falls, it should have fallen on the floor behind him. So the only way that this scene would make sense is if the victim was turned around and his head was actually facing the back of his head was facing the table, so that when the blood trickled down, it fell onto the table, onto the card. Does that make sense to you guys? It makes sense to me. I'm gonna throw it out there. Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem? I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. Were you even listening? Well, look, the victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair. You'd think any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him. Ah. Take a look at this photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood should have fallen onto the floor, not onto the cards. That's right. So what does this mean? Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. I'm in a swivel chair. I can swivel all day. Apollo, try turning the chair around. Recreate the crime scene. Oh my god. Guys, boys, girls, ladies, gents, gays, and theys. We have intuitive gameplay. I get to touch the screen and whoa, I get to turn a chair around. Oh! And people claim that this isn't a real game. That was some hot gameplay that I just did there. Ah, the chair was facing the other way. It would have to be. So we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing the other way, away from the table. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in the photo. So that would mean the killer turned the chair back around? Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know that the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, or the second witnesses? So, if the victim is now facing the opposite way, that means that our killer seems to be the problem because the killer donked him on the head with the bottle that sent him flying back. That's what I would say. Blaziken Blitz! Hey, fan that's in the Discord channel that usually doesn't have time to stop by, just binged all 4 Ace Attorney games that you played recently. They're great to listen to while driving. Oh, honestly, I love listening to live streams while driving sometimes, so I'm glad that you enjoyed them. I hope you will enjoy Apollo Justice.
Thanks for popping in and saying hi. I love it when I get to see you guys pop in, even just quickly. Just to say hey. Be like, hey, I'm someone who watches you. Aw. Alright, the victim was struck in the front, correct?
Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where the indicator currently is? I'd think it'd be quite hard, yes. Jesus.
Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game?
I believe a sufficient reason is soon going to come to light.
What?
There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram.
There's something I find very charming about this start and stop of, like, this diagram music. It's like, go back into the diagram, turn the chair around, go back into the diagram, do this. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking it on the diagram. Okay, but wait, what? There's no room to put a mark. Where the killer should be. Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing toward the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim from the front? I mean, he'd have to be in front of the victim. So he'd have to be, like, right here in the closet, Your Honor. We're making a killer come out of the closet today. The killer had to be standing, well, here. Oh, yeah, I figured.
You get points for flair, but that's about all you get.
Ugh, I thought I was onto something here.
I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above?
Oh, it's a cupboard. You see, I thought it was a closet. It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that at the very moment of the crime... Wait! I know this one! At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. What's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Ah, Your Honor? What? There's one more thing your men should look for. Please, give this to the bailiff. Yes. Wait, what? I see. Oh, you do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. Thank you, Your Honor. I do my best. Oh my god. I'm loving this. Anyways, why don't we forge ahead here while we wait? Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then the cupboard wasn't here. Which means... Apollo, try moving the cupboard. Riveting gameplay. Are you guys ready? Check that shit out. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it had to have been shown here. Also, let it not be lost on us that if we move the cupboard, it blocks the window, which is where Gavin is claiming he witnessed the crime from, so... That is not correct, Gavin. So now everything's in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh, but look at that! Something's off. What is it now, Mr. Wright? Well, look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found another contradiction. It's funny how those things keep adding up when your story is full of lies. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Oh, dang! Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. He's starting to sound like the fucking science girl that replaced Maya. Emma in the Rise from the Ashes case. We're gonna solve this through science, Nick. I like that he took that, because I was always a very pro-science guy. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness? Which indicator in this diagram contradicts what we know about the crime?
That would be witness number 2, aka Christoph Gavin, actually, Your Honor. I'm confident in that. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs. Ah! That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West? Losing is cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was. Well, the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. Huh. His pin on his hat is the same as Emma's pin from the game? Is that ooh, is it? I'm trying to remember Emma. She was dressed like a scientist because she was a science nerd. She might have for sure like had a little brooch or a pin. I'd have to go back to my early streams and say, that's a cool little Easter egg if that's the case. Oh, that's funny. Exactly. Where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Order! This is a court of law and I will have order. Oh, jeez. Well, look, we just now received word from our investigative team at the Borscht Bowl Club. They've examined the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor. Oh, and what did they find? Well, Your Honor, turns out there's a secret passage behind it. What? I beg your pardon, what? This room was investigated and the police missed an entire fucking passageway? Ah, yeah. I believe Larry mentioned something of the sort. This is one of the tricks to that room that many of our regulars know about, and that your crack-ass team of police investigators simply couldn't find. I do remember him saying something about that now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal goings-ons. Going-on-goings. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld's bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. Well, it's all coming together pretty conveniently, isn't it? What you gotta say, Gav? So, you see where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, right, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. Man, that girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for her last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on, say something. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There, he crouched, hidden behind the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment, and then the chance came and he took it. Eek! What? Why did you do that? Wait here. I'm gonna get help. Miss Olga O'Reilly was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding along. So he wheeled his chair around to look, and that's when it was all over. After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the car. He would have, of course, realized he needed to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. That's wild. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night.
If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red. Oh! Do we get a freak out? We're close. He's breaking. He's about to bust. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor.
The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Oh, that's great! Ah! Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately. Oh, what do you got? What's up your sleeve now? Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion? This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Legal evidence? Yeah. Ah! Jesus!
Phoenix of Grandeur has just donated $3. I knew there was something shady about that Gavin guy.
Thank you, Phoenix of Grandeur, for the $3 and the pain objection, which is always the most delightful pain I can get into my ears. Man, everybody's throwing out objections today. Let me ask you, Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking? How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne?
Actually, yes. Fingerprints on the bottle were upside down.
I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demands an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? See how they caught the fish squirms to the last... Did you get... You caught my drift, Apollo. Fish, they squirm when they're caught. You understand? Yeah, I get it, Nick. It's fine. Your boss seems awfully concerned about his bottle still. I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah. Wait, just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to, you know, clonk someone on the head? Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there. Hiding in plain sight.
My guy, why can't you just give me the answer in plain words?
It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions indeed. Well, Mr. Justice. Mr. Gavin said that the court in this case demand an explanation. Don't worry. Justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down?
Well, you see, there's a bottle on the table. So maybe he just fucking grabbed it upside down? I don't know. Bottle on the table. Got playing cards. So, here's one idea. It's a radical idea, but hear me out for a second. What we have is an empty bottle that we can see in multiple photos, right? And the bottle in question is on the victim's side. So if we use our scientific brain and we deduct their reasoning, we can conclude that the victim was drinking the bottle. Which is funny, because we talked about how grape juice is like Phoenix's favorite and he was drinking it. But the implication from this photo, and there was another photo too, that showed the bottle on the victim's side of the table, like maybe it was his bottle that he was drinking out of. And then, following that line of reasoning, we can see that the box, the box of bottles is by Phoenix, right? So like, maybe Phoenix was like, you know, maybe Shady was like, hey, chuck me a beer. I'm sorry, a grape juice. And Phoenix was like, okay, bro, yeah, I got you. And he just grabbed one. And like, if you're just grabbing a bottle for somebody else to grab, you're doing a handoff of bottles, you might grab it like by the neck and be like, all right, you might hold the neck of the bottle not to hit somebody on the head, but to be like, hey, here is this bottle. And then the other person, they can grab it by the body and be like, thanks, brah, I'll drink it. Does this make sense to anybody? At all? It might be a step in logic, but, So what would I even present then? I don't know. Could I present any of these photos? I could say like, oh, he was drinking it. I could say like, oh, he handed it off to this guy. I just... we have full health. Why not give it a shot? Well, you see, it's actually easier to show you than to explain, Your Honor. I tried my hardest to explain. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me, on the floor? Yeah. Now, reach down and pick it up for me. Without getting out of the chair. Guys, I'm a scientist. Let's demonstrate. I have a bottle. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna put it down on the floor. Now, if I was going to grab the bottle to give to someone, my arm goes down. I grab it by the neck. I pull it up. And I'm holding it upside down. Hey, would you like this bottle? At the same time, also though, like I could very just as easily take my hand, put it behind the bottle, and pick it up like this. So, I mean, the thing is, you can pick up a bottle any number of ways. You know? Ah! You see, you naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. Ah, yes, can't believe it was that simple. Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed, but then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. Oh. And you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. Are you kidding me? There was no, like, DNA evidence or, like, scuff marks from the bottle hitting the dude's head that you could have, like, been like, oh, this must have not been the right bottle. Whatever. Fucking police, man. Order! What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Anything at all? Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle? Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's, not my job. I'm the defense attorney. My job is only to provide reasonable doubt. Your job as the prosecutor is to prove beyond a doubt. So, the burden of proof is on you. Just kidding. This isn't my first rodeo with Ace Attorney. The burden of proof is always on us. As I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation?
Ah, yes. I have your memo about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. The card!
Ah! I know what it is! I know the trump card here. Phoenix said that he put the card that he got inside of the bottle that was ultimately going to be used as the murder weapon, and our bottle didn't have a card, and we were like, what the fuck is up with that? The bottle in question is going to have the card for sure.
And here's one of the bottles in question.
What are you going to do, dust for fingerprints too? I would be surprised if any were on that, but his.
Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake, that's true. That bottle's not going to bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo.
Yeah?
Why don't you go ahead and examine the bottle?
But why? Just humor me.
Mr. Wright, that bottle's going to solve this case once and for all.
What?
That's some bottle.
All right, let's see. Let's zoom in. Whoa, Nelly. Spin it around. Ah! We see her. I see her. Examiner. Examiner.
There's something inside the bottle.
The 5 of Hearts that Olga O'Reilly said she used for the cheat.
What's this?
That card. It can't be. Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Wow, calling her unpleasant. Nick is a savage.
Miss Olga O'Reilly?
Yeah, our little swindling divachka.
That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hands just like he was supposed to, then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone, the trap failed.
Wait, this isn't... Are you telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one mentioned in the piece of the testimony? I happened to put my hands in my pocket and found a card. Yeah, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. Wow. The 5 of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped, and the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. I love his points. Oh, here it comes! Oh god, all the lobster and everything, the borscht. The crayfish. What is borscht? I'm uncultured. Someone help me.
That is all, Your Honor. I'm done here. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge several years ago. My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Yeah, thank you for that, Nick. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little tete-a-tete, Mr. Wright. Tit for tat? Tit for tit? What?
This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone?
Well, I believe this time we've finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin?
He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now.
I see. Borscht is Ukrainian, Russian cold soup or stew, red, pink in color.
But like, what is in the soup? What makes it red or pink? Are crayfish in the stew?
Well, didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
Oh shit, that's right. We never like established a motive. That's a little bit weird.
None that we know of.
Mr. Wright, do you have anything to add?
I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. At least for now. Maybe this is like Trials and Tribulations where we have like an overarching mystery that extends out for the entire game. That'd be cool. That'd be a vibe. I'd be into it. No spoilers.
About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. It's an odd profession, to be sure. That's all we know about him.
I'll arrange for a follow-up investigation, Your Honor.
Good. Mr. Wright. Yes? Has beetroot? Oy. 7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed 2 things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated.
That's your courtroom, Your Honor.
The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney.
That's you, Apollo.
Me? This is a dark time for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. And we have to set it right. Mr. Wright, our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Aww.
Well, this seems like a good time to announce the verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright,
not guilty! Oh my god, boys. At the 4-hour mark, we finally got our first not guilty in the game.
Court is adjourned.
Nice. Sick deal. We beat the tutorial. 4:20 Blaze at 4:28 p.m. District Court, defendant lobby number 3. Oh, we got victory music.
Thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't really do a thing in there. It was you who cornered the killer. Hey, I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability? Right, my ability. Yeah. A sensitivity I lacked. You'll come to understand it soon enough. I wonder if he means this thing from this flashback that we all saw with Olga O'Reilly. When you saw the victim, I sensed your thing, you're touching your neck, whoa, and then I started tripping balls. Yeah, what was that, Mr. Wright? You're gonna have to find the answer to that on your own. The answer, right. Today was full of questions without answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. Possible reason could he have had to commit murder?
Hey, perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. I have a feeling I'm gonna.
Huh, wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Oh, hey, that reminds me, I met the girl whose picture's in the locket. Right, we did. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Wait, what? I took this off his neck the night he died.
So Shady Smith was wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter in it? Or did you add the daughter afterwards? But it was... That's suspicious.
But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, but that's perjury! You testified, you said the locket was yours!
Apollo, no I didn't.
What? I just said it was a locket with my daughter's photo inside.
Oh, maybe he added the photo of his daughter just so that he could, like, you know, use it in a court of law and say exactly that, to imply it was his locket without lying under oath. Phoenix is such a clever liar.
A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And that's the truth. Wait, but then why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside of it? Look, sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time.
No, that's weird.
You're still just getting started with your career.
Right. Hey, speaking of which, you might have just cost me a job today because I kind of worked for the Gavin law offices. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs.
Apollo.
Yeah?
Why don't you come work for me?
Ah! But Phoenix, look, I love you to death and you're my idol, but you're disbarred. How does that work? You mean at the writing company law offices? But, I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I mean, you're like famous. You had a parrot testify. Well, look, I can't imagine that to be true, but you're not a lawyer. Oh, that is true. I turned in my badge. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. Oh. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was just one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion, and then he left law for good. I mean, have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Me not being qualified to be a teacher. Actually, I still have a valid teacher license. So, like, technically, by the law and by the standards, I'm qualified to teach secondary education, biological science, and general education science. I'm just not hireable by any school district because I'm a whore. That's okay, I made that decision for myself. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. What? Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. The trump card? Oh, that's right. One piece of evidence struck me as odd. It just seemed, well, a little too perfect. It was the evidence your daughter gave me, wasn't it? You mean this, don't you? I got it from your, daughter, Mr. Wright. Yep, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left, leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. The court can't accept this evidence, it's a fraud. And he was telling the truth, it was a fraud. Oh, fuck off, Phoenix, that's amazing. You get to play dirty. Now that he's not a lawyer, he can play with some dirty tricks, but also, that could have come back and really bit me in the ass as a rookie lawyer. I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. That's a good play, haha. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. So then, you really? Yeah, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Apollo, who's calling themselves an attorney? That's not what I am. So it's true. The rumor's true. 7 years ago. Look, none of that matters now, does it? Wow, the way I'm really relating to Phoenix right now. What happened? I punched Apollo! Alright, sweetie pie. You don't get to punch your clients. That's assault. It's your story from here, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Preferably, don't punch me again, but the offer still stands. Mr. Wright? Oh, and about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. Find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a lot of fun. Oh my god, our first date went so well. Minus the assault at the end. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. So anyways, that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved, and at the time I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough, though. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. The end. Oh, what a cute, charming introduction to this game. I have a feeling this is going to be a good one. That was a strong start, I feel. A brand new episode has been added, Turnabout Corner. All right. Cool deal. I love that for us. Save changes. Yes, let's do that. And that's what we're going to call it for today. So we're right up on time once again at about the 2-hour mark. And that's it for me today. So if you guys have been here the whole time, please do leave a like on the stream. The engagement, as always, is super helpful. A lot of you guys seem excited to be watching this one. I'm super excited to be playing it. We had a nice turnout today, so I really do love that. This game has a How I Met Your Mother style of writing. I love that show to death. So I will be back here tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern Time for those of you who are invested to start off whatever the next case is going to be. I hope it's a good one. Other than that, that's kind of it for me, I guess. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your nights and stay safe out there. Toodles, boys!